If you forget one word, the whole thing falls apart. Instead, you should focus on signposting.
Signposting? Like the signs on the road?
Exactly. You're the driver, and the audience is in the passenger seat. You need to tell them where you're going. Instead of just jumping into data, start with, I've broken this down into 3 main points.
I love that. It gives the audience a map. And when you move from one point to the next, you use phrases like moving on to or turning our attention to.
Spot on. And if you're showing a complicated chart or some code, don't just stay silent. Say, as you can see on the screen, or let's take a closer look at these figures. It keeps everyone focused on the same thing.
What about the end? Most people just say, that's it, and look awkward.
Please don't do that. Wrap it up with a strong to recap, or the key takeaway here is it reminds them why they listened to you for 10 minutes. Then open the floor with, I'd be happy to take any questions.
It sounds so much more authoritative. You aren't just presenting data, you're telling a story.
Sarah, I'm exhausted just listening to that background noise. Networking events. They are the ultimate test of your English, aren't they?
They really are. It's like speed dating, but for your career. The biggest hurdle for most people is just breaking the ice. You can't just walk up and start talking about your CV.
Exactly. I usually go for a shared experience opener. Something like, have you managed to catch any of the sessions today? Or even just, the coffee here is a bit of a lifesaver, isn't it?
A lifesaver. I love that. It's relatable. Once you've started the conversation, you need a smooth way to explain what you do. I always tell people to have a 1-sentence pitch.
What's yours?
I usually say, I help companies bridge the communication gap between their teams and their clients. It's better than just saying, I'm a consultant. It sparks a conversation.
Very smooth. And when the conversation is winding down, because you can't talk to one person all night, how do you escape?
You don't escape, Mark. You wrap up. I say, it's been great chatting with you. Do you have a LinkedIn or a card? I'd love to keep in touch.
Keep in touch. The golden phrase. And listeners, if you really want to impress, send a message the next day saying, it was a pleasure connecting with you yesterday. Looking forward to crossing paths again.
Crossing paths. It sounds so natural and effortless. That's the secret to networking. It's not about selling, it's about connecting. All right, Mark, we've networked, we've sent the emails, and now we're in the hot seat, the job interview. This is where everyone, even native speakers, gets a bit tongue-tied.
Absolutely. The biggest challenge isn't just speaking English, it's selling yourself without sounding like you're bragging. A common mistake is being too vague. When an interviewer asks, tell me about your experience, you can't just say, I worked in customer service.
Exactly. You need to flesh it out. I always recommend the STAR method: situation, task, action, and result. It gives you a structure so you don't ramble.
Ramble. That's a great word for talking too much without a point. Listeners, use phrases like, I was responsible for, or I took the initiative to. This shows you are a doer.
And what about the weakness question? That one always trips people up.
The classic. Don't say I'm a perfectionist. Everybody says that. Instead, talk about a real skill you are working on. For example, in the past, I struggled with public speaking, so I've been taking steps to improve by joining a local club. It shows growth.
I love that. It's honest. And at the end, when they ask, do you have any questions for us? Never say no. Ask something like, what does success look like in this role? Or how would you describe the team culture?
Spot on. It shows you're not just looking for a job, you're looking for the right job. Confidence comes from preparation, not just from perfect grammar.
We've made it through the interview, Mark, and the news is good. They want to hire us. But now comes the part that makes everyone's palms sweat, the salary negotiation.
It's a delicate dance, Sarah. In English-speaking business cultures, you don't want to sound greedy, but you also don't want to sell yourself short. The key is to justify your request based on the market rate.
So, how do we start? I imagine "give me more money" isn't the best opening line.
Definitely not. I'd start by showing excitement for the role, then move into the request. Something like, "I'm thrilled about the offer, but based on my experience and the current market rate, I was expecting something closer to..."
I love the use of "closer to." It's not an ultimatum, it's the start of a conversation. And if they say the budget is fixed, you can look at other benefits, right?
Exactly. You can ask, "Is there any flexibility with a total compensation package?" This could include remote work days, bonuses, or health benefits. It shows you're looking at the big picture.
What if they ask for your salary expectations early on?
Try to keep it broad. Use a range instead of a single number. And remember, if you're talking to a company in Colombia, always clarify that you are talking about Colombian pesos to avoid any confusion.
Great point. Use phrases like, "I'm open to negotiation," or "I'm sure we can find a middle ground." It keeps the relationship positive while you stand your ground. Mark, I think I've spent more time looking at my own reflection on a screen this year than I have looking in an actual mirror. The remote life is officially here to stay.
Tell me about it. But virtual meetings have their own set of rules, don't they? There's nothing more awkward than 3 people trying to speak at the same time because of a lag.
Oh, the double talk is real. I've learned that you have to be much more deliberate. Instead of just jumping in, I use phrases like, "Sorry, you go ahead," or "Mind if I jump in here?"
Great phrases. And let's talk about the technical hiccups. If you can't hear someone, don't just panic. Say, "You're breaking up a bit," or "Your audio is lagging." It's much more precise than "I can't hear you."
And if you're the one having trouble, you can say, "Bear with me for a second, I'm having some connection issues." It buys you time to fix your Wi-Fi without feeling stressed.
What about the chat function? I see people using it to loop others in or share links while someone else is speaking.
Yes, it's perfect for sidebars. You can drop a note like, "Just sharing the documentation here for reference," so you don't interrupt the speaker's flow.
Exactly. Remote work is all about over-communicating. Since we can't see body language as clearly, we have to use our words to fill in the gaps. And just like that, we've made it through the workplace jungle. Sarah, I feel like I've done a whole week's work just talking about it.
I know the feeling. We've covered everything from syncing up in emails to playing devil's advocate in meetings and even the dreaded salary negotiation.
It's a lot to take in. But remember, listeners, you don't need to be a perfect speaker to be a professional speaker. The secret is in the clarity and the connection.
Exactly. So here is your challenge of the week. In your very next meeting or your next professional email, I want you to use one cushion phrase or signpost.
That's right. Instead of just saying, "I disagree," try starting with, "I see where you're coming from, but..." Or if you're sending an email to follow up on a task, don't just ask, "Where is it?" Try just checking in on this.
It's these small shifts that change how people perceive you in a global work environment. You're not just a student anymore. You're a collaborator.
Well said. Thank you all for joining us for episode 2. We'd love to hear how your professional challenge goes, so please leave us a comment on our YouTube channel or tag us on TikTok.
We're so proud of the progress you're making. Until next time, keep it professional, keep it human, and we'll see you in the next episode of English in the Wild.
Cheers, everyone. Bye for now.